Hey guys, welcome to part 7 of the LSW1 90% beginner tutorial. I'm Hydrus, and today we're going to be covering Discovery on Kamino. Now, where we last left off, we were kind of in the diner, and you want to drop in player 2 either on the tile screen, and you can drop him in there from moving around and stuff, just from menuing, or you can drop him in the diner. The reason for this is because player 2 is a little bit closer to the door than player 1. You want to be saving as much time as you can, so as soon as you have control of player 2, just move to the right, jump in that door, don't forget, and you want to make sure that you have player 1 dropped in either when you start this stage or in the diner, because you're going to be doing the last big drop warp in the run that saves a lot of time. It saves like 10 seconds, so just a heads up. So when you have both players dropped in, you want to move both to the right. It's fine if your RPTC is a little bit bad. We all have to start somewhere. And you want player 1 to be on the left side of this bridge. The reason is that when you try to fly across the bridge and if Obi-Wan is farther to the right, the camera will actually like flick R4 off the platform. It's hard to describe, I'll try to demonstrate. Like, that will happen. So you want to make sure the camera can see R4 when he goes to that platform, because that's where we're going to be doing this trick, so once you touch that mini kit and you lock yourself into this groove, you want to then go to player 1 and then walk off the right side of this bridge and then drop him out. Hold upright with player 2 after that dropout, and then press start on player 1 as the camera centers on R4, and then player 1 will be across the bridge. And as soon as you see that player icon and the camera shifting to the right, drop out player 2, and then you should be able to go across the bridge. Alright, as soon as you enter this room, I want to note one thing. This entire room is a circle, so it's going to be faster if you travel on the inside of the circle versus the outside. That's just basic logic. So we want to stay inside the circle like this, and then you want to go here. Now, this is the first transition skip in this level, and there's two different ways you can do it. You can do it through an R4 push, which is very difficult, or you can do a very easy jump slash drop out drop in method. So I'm going to teach you that, since that only loses like 0.5 to a good R4 push anyway if your dropouts are fast. So drop in player 2 whenever, like either when you enter this room or before the room. I like to do it before. And you want to pull up the lightsaber on player 1, stand about here-ish, do a jump slash, and then you're going to be very clearly out of bounds when you're past this like door, and then drop out player 2. And now you're in the state of you're on solid ground, but you're not quite falling yet. And how you get under this floor is you go around like this. And it's the same out of bounds move that I described in negotiations. I want to keep kind of a tight line in this hallway. There's two different ways to touch the loading zone here. And like the ship clip in negotiations, you want to be about cape height, about here. And once your cape is about halfway in, you want to jump until you're locked in. Now, the first way to touch the loading zone is the slower way. And once you're clipped in the panel in the center like this, you just want to hold right. Well, unfortunately, since I failed that, I'm going to show you the backup if you soft lock like this. And you pretty much just want to keep spamming start on controller 2 and walking forward with player 1. And then you're going to have to reload the room with player 2. Okay, so that took a while for some reason. But you kind of want to curve around the top right of that panel, and you'll load this room. Now, sometimes you can do that exact same method and load the next room after this. It's a bit finicky. The loading zone isn't super precise, so if you get the loading zone for the next room, I will show that strat as well. But if you get this room, you just want to switch to R4, activate the door, and then walk into this door with R4. And then you would curve around, push Obi-Wan in, and do the transition skip. Now, the other method is a bit harder because the loading zone for the room after that one is a lot smaller to touch. But pretty much what you want to do is you want to do the same thing that you did for the first one. You want to be sure you're in the center of the panel, like so. And then you want to try to get on top of this panel, kind of like that. And then once you're on top of the panel, just hold right. And that should have been it, but let me try to demonstrate that again. Okay, kind of like that. That was more upright than right, but you'll understand the position for the loading zone more as you get better. Really the only difference, if you enter this room as Obi-Wan, you just want to go upright to about here on this gray line on the door, switch to R4, and this applies to both, obviously, because you're pushing Obi-Wan in the same position. You want to push Obi-Wan, like, halfway past this door, so about there. And then you can go around. You want to go around that door, curve around, and don't spam A when you're out of bounds, otherwise you're going to clip out, and you're going to have to do this entire transition skip again. Keep a good height. Stay on the right side of this hallway, and once you get to these gray lines in the floor, once you get to this corner, you want to do a corner cut out of bounds. It's not too bad. Once you touch it, just spam A. Jump over this window. Jump over that ledge. It can be a bit slow walking up slopes in this game. Next kind of trick, or rather series of jumps, I'm going to explain, are called bomb jumps. Now, compared to TCS, if you ran that game, these are a lot harder. Well, the first two are actually pretty lenient, but the three after that are actually, you have to curve around and it's very difficult. You can play all the bomb jumps pretty safe as a beginner. Curving your analog stick around all the explosions does take a lot of feel, very feel-based, and it takes a lot of practice. So these first two, you just want to go to the bottom of this railing and then hold right and jump. I swear you won't get hit. Same for the other one. This one's a bit different because I think this is going to like form a downward slope. So you just want to curve to the bottom and then curve back upright like this. Jump up that slope. Same thing with this. It's going to be the opposite direction now. So you just want to do that. You kind of want to stay on the edge of that explosion on the left there since it's kind of big. And for this one is probably the hardest. You want to get on a ledge on the far right side after you curve out, and you're probably going to die when you do it, and if you do, that's completely fine. Bomb jumps are something that come with experience. Yeah, that delayed double jump is not as easy as it looks. Keep to the side of the railing, do a corner jump, touch the button, and as soon as you get to this part of the bridge right here, call in player 2. This Whompy DC is pretty easy, you just do it one at a time. You want to touch this button with R4, move it about here, move forward player 1, force the thing, and then R4 is activating the panel, drop him out. Then we're going to get Obi-Wan into the elevator. Make sure you're in the center of the elevator, as if you're not, the elevator won't move. Again, there's two different ways to do this room. The first way is called Kamino clip. You can also do the 1P2C. Now, super optimal Kamino clip basically goes even with the 1P2C, so as a beginner, I would just recommend going for Kamino clip first, and then as you get better, learn the 1P2C. That would be my advice. And also, if you're going to do the 1P2C, don't drop out R4 once you activate the panel. Like, guide him into the elevator as well as Obi-Wan. I won't be covering the 1P2C in this video, but I will be linking a good example of the 1P2C in the video description, so if you want to check that out, feel free. Anyway, once you enter this room, there's going to be a bunch of these robots, and they have pretty random laser targeting, and it's not exactly accurate, so you won't get shot most of the time, and you just want to go forward. You can walk if you want. The fastest strat here is actually damaging yourself twice intentionally, and then you'll die quicker when executing Kamino clip, but it's a bit risky and random, so I wouldn't recommend it if you're a beginner. You just want to go forward, and then you want to stand about here, and you want to force almost all the bricks to this ceiling, but not quite, and then you want to stand under the bricks as they're falling, so you'll stand on top of the bricks, and then when you respawn, you'll actually respawn under the bricks, because that's the last position your game remembered, and after that, you just hold upright to hit the loading zone. Kind of looks like this. That was a pretty fast Kamino clip. I got good RNG there. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Django boss fight. This can be really intimidating if you don't really know what you're doing, but it's pretty easy given you know the mechanics of him. You can't damage him until you see his hearts, by the way. So you just want to jump over his first laser bolts, and he's going to move to the center of the arena and just shoot lasers at you, and you want to do 3 jump slashes. The third jump slash should try to return him to the center of the arena so he isn't flying, because he's actually a pretty slow flyer. Do the first one. I like to do another one to the left. Another one to the bottom right. And the iframes on those jump slashes aren't too punishing. You can be pretty quick with them. And then now, you have to do deflections, and you want to tap B when you see the laser bolt coming right before it touches your lightsaber. And I like to go to the bottom of the map. It makes deflections easier. Plus, this slave ship is shooting you, so it can be a bit annoying. You can also use a sound cube, but some people don't find that as accurate. Next, he's going to be moving to the left, and he's going to be forcing these, like, rocket things. And you want to just mash the X button or the force button, and you should get them on the first frame that they come out. He's going to go to the left, the right, and then the left to finish off. after he descends, after throwing the final rocket at you, you have an opportunity to do a jump slash and kill him as he descends. Now, there's 2 different visual cues or spots that you can use. You can either do it from the right or the left. I personally used the left for a while, but after experimenting with this strat a lot on emulator, I found it was easier to do it from the right. It doesn't really lose any time, so... You want to stand about here to where your head touches that R4 character icon in the panel. And then after you force the final rocket, you want to press B to unsheath your lightsaber. And then as Jango Fett descends, you want to roll your thumb along A and B to do a jump slash. So, like this. Like that. There you go. That's Kamino. If you do it from that spot, it is a lot easier than doing it from the right. And with enough practice, you should be getting it every time. Alright, next time we're going to be covering Droid Factory. I hope to see you there, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.